Well now, when it comes to Drake and Kendrick Lamar, things have turned into a wild spectacle that no one saw coming. The way Drake, or Karen, as people keep jokingly calling him online, is still trying to publicly poke at Kendrick like he's desperate for another round of lyrical warfare is flat-out dramatic. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button because this mess is only getting messier and you don't want to miss it. As Karen and his little OVO detective squad finally string together a full sentence, Drake's out here parading like he's some master-level lyrical genius, a supervillain plotting in the shadows. He's pushing this narrative that there's a bigger plan behind every move with Kendrick Lamar. And now, it feels like the whole thing could spiral into something even bigger than anyone expected. Drake's fans are hyping it up too, claiming the guy who dropped The Heart Part 6 is a prophet who predicted the future. They're out here treating him like some modern-day chess master of the rap game. But today, we're not sugarcoating anything. We're breaking it down, exposing the reality behind the hype, and pulling back the curtain on what's really going on. Make sure to leave that like, because the stans are already getting emotional over this. And here's the wildest part. Between his public meltdowns and his petty online antics, Drake's been quietly liking posts from fan pages spinning conspiracy theories about his lawsuit and his label. They're saying lyrics from Family Matters were all coded messages, like Drake's some Gandalf or Yoda who can see the future and knew this moment was coming all along. This is pure rap soap opera energy. And now, the wildest twist in this saga is how the most media illiterate people are suddenly trying to lecture everyone else about media literacy. They're spinning the ending of Family Matters like it's some secret coded confession from Drake, and it's getting ridiculous. Towards the end of that track, Drake takes a swipe at Kendrick Lamar, singing about how Kendrick supposedly needed a management team to cover up some awful stuff he allegedly did, even though there's literally nothing to prove it. Yet people are running with it like it's gospel. They're claiming Drake somehow predicted this entire scheme with bots, not like us, and all the other drama surrounding it. The conspiracy deepens when they bring up an LLC Drake name drop called Nowhere to Hide. According to these online detectives, this mysterious LLC is tied to a man named Kojo, who keeps popping up in this whole situation like some shadowy figure Drake's dragging into the light for questioning. But here's where it gets even wilder. The evidence doesn't actually add up. While people are insisting that Nowhere to Hide is Kojo's company just because Drake said the name, early checks make it look like this might be a bogus registry altogether. It doesn't seem to match anything Kojo actually owns or works with, and yet the rumors keep flying. And here's the kicker. The more people hype Drake as some crystal ball holding rap genius, the deeper this rabbit hole goes. When you actually take Drake at his word and follow what his lyrics would really imply, the whole thing starts looking way more insane than anyone expected. This isn't just a rap beef anymore. It's turning into a full-blown mystery thriller. Let's break this circus all the way down, because the story Drake's fans are trying to sell is sounding like a blockbuster thriller. According to them, Drake wasn't just blindsided by this beef. He actually knew it was coming. They're saying he saw the diss track from a mile away, the one that would drag his reputation to an all-time low, shake his value inside the label system, and become part of some massive setup that he had no control over, yet somehow knew every detail of. Think about how wild that is. This theory suggests that Drake watched the entire plan unfold like a script, allowed it to hit him full force for over a year, and just sat back as it supposedly rewrote hip-hop's narrative. And still, even knowing all of that, he let it play out? That's not just far-fetched. That's movie-level drama. And it doesn't stop there. If this version of events is true, then since Kendrick Lamar's latest drop, Drake's been playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, at least according to the lobby detectives hyping this theory. They're convinced Drake knew this entire beef was a setup, yet he still decided to go through the motions, dropping push-up tracks, sparring like it was any regular rap battle, and even doubling down with Family Matters against other MCs. Then comes the kicker. When Kendrick finally released the track that was supposedly part of this grand conspiracy to boost streams and destroy Drake, the theory says Drake still played along and dropped the heart parts in response, like he was acting out his role in the script. This is the kind of plot you'd expect from a streaming series cliffhanger, not a real rap feud. And here's where the entire Drake Knew Everything storyline completely collapses. The Heart Part 6. This was the moment Drake tried to pull a rabbit out of his hat, throwing out a track stuffed with cryptic lines about lying with the daughter and hidden information, like he was dropping some final boss-level revelation. Instead, it backfired in the worst way, staining his reputation and making him look more nervous about this feud than ever before. When you really stop and remember what actually went down in this beef, and even just a handful of the 50 songs Drake has pumped out since, the whole genius mastermind narrative starts to look ridiculous. This isn't some elegant chess move. It's messy, it's frantic, and it's incomprehensible as a long-term strategy. If you're gonna stand there and insist Drake is some rap oracle, then how do you explain him making The Heart Part 6 not as a reveal of some grand industry plot, but as a cover-up for how badly he misplayed the feud? What are we even doing here? Because at the end of the day, if Drake really had a master plan, if he truly knew every step of what was coming, that would have been a seismic shift in music history. He could have flipped the narrative and changed the game forever. But nothing even close to that happened. Not then, not now. This whole thing starts looking less like a secret operation and more like a massive bluff gone wrong. And yet, OVO's most loyal believers are still trying to convince themselves of this elaborate conspiracy theory, that Drake willingly torched everything he'd built for more than a year as part of some giant strategy to win later. It sounds less like a plan and more like a bad script from a movie about fame gone wrong. If you actually believe this wild theory, it might be time to stop caring about Drake altogether, because that's how far off the deep end this has gone. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has ever let their reputation crumble this hard on purpose. There isn't a single self-respecting person in the history of entertainment who would pull something this self-destructive and call it strategy. Let's be real. There's no way anyone can say that with a straight face and still think it makes sense. Drake's out here trying to move like a genius puppet master, liking posts that claim he knew everything from the start. He's even bragging that he's the real Boogeyman compared to Kendrick Lamar, like he's living in a horror movie and everyone else is stuck in the audience. The funniest part? He's pulling all these sneaky stunts, tossing bait to his fans, and stirring chaos online. But he still won't say Kendrick's name. It's all smoke, mirrors, and ego at this point. Truthfully, it feels like Drake just got lucky. He's thrilled that his own fan base is down bad enough to believe these overblown fairy tales. They're treating every random lyric, every like, and every mysterious post like it's gospel from a prophet, when really it's just noise. Because when you peel back the curtain on how Drake's been operating for the past decade, one thing becomes clear. This man isn't the mastermind he wants people to think he is. He's not calculated, not prophetic, and definitely not holding any crystal ball that lets him see the future. What we've actually seen across For All the Dogs, Scary Hours 3, and this entire messy feud is simple. Drake's mastered a whole new form of chaos. And honestly, that chaos deserves its own name, something fitting for all the half-baked disses, emotional flips, and accidental clownery he's been serving. So here it is. Diss Slop. That's the perfect label for this unplanned, overhyped, and downright sloppy energy Drake keeps feeding the world while pretending it's all part of his master plan. Now let me break down exactly what I mean by diss slop, because this right here defines how Drake's been moving for years. The man raps like he's always arguing with someone, always snapping back, always angry. But if you really listen, 99% of what he says is so vague that it could mean anything. It's all smoke and attitude, no clarity. And somehow, his biggest fans twist that into brilliance, claiming he's bigger than Michael Jackson, sharper than Jay-Z, and slicker in the courtroom than Saul Goodman. Please, that's not genius. That's just noise with good PR. If you look at Scary Hours 3, you'll see the pattern crystal clear. A perfect example, the track, Stories About My Brother. This song is the ultimate showcase of that diss slop energy I'm talking about. When Drake closes the track saying, "You are not Kobe Bryant to us," it sounds deep, right? But once you start connecting the dots, it's like, Who is he even talking about? Now, in hindsight, everyone's scrambling to make sense of it. Some folks swear that line was about Kendrick Lamar, since Kendrick's a West Coast legend, and the Kobe reference ties perfectly into that. Others claim it's about LeBron James because, well, he's also a Laker, a baller, and his friendship turned tension with Drake has been public for years. But that's exactly the problem. Drake's lines are like Rorschach tests. You see what you want to see? He throws out vague shots, loaded quotes, and emotional bait, then lets his fans do all the decoding. It's not genius lyricism, it's calculated confusion. And the fact that people are still arguing over what that line even meant just proves how much of Drake's current image thrives on mystery and misdirection. And here's the thing. When you step back and really look at the context, the whole "this line was about Kendrick or LeBron" theory starts falling apart fast. Sure, on the surface, it loosely fits, and Drake fans love to run with that narrative. They point out how Kendrick showed up at one of Drake's concerts, or how Drake and LeBron were tight at the time, and then say, "See? This proves it." But when you look closer, it's obvious this line was most likely about someone completely different, or maybe it meant nothing at all. Drake throws in vague lines like that constantly, and people build whole conspiracies out of them. And now, years later, fans are trying to link those old bars to Drake's current beefs, like it was all a prophecy. That's exactly how this machine works. A random lyric gets retrofitted into some elaborate plotline, and suddenly Drake is cast as this master manipulator who knew everything. Take the track Red Button, for example. Drake raps about the industry conspiracy, how everybody's against him, and drops all these delusional-sounding claims like he's the star of a paranoid thriller. The diehards spin that into proof he knew the Kendrick beef was coming, and that it was all one big setup. But here's the reality. Drake literally asked Kendrick to be on this album, and when Kendrick declined, it was a surprise to everyone, including Drake. That's not mastermind behavior. That's normal industry politics. And then we get to that infamous Kojo line. People are twisting it into Drake knew what he was doing all along, but the evidence just doesn't hold up. It's more likely another vague name drop that fans latched onto to build their favorite conspiracy narrative. Let me be straight up. I don't believe a single bit of this until there's solid proof that Drake has ever been this calculated or that his vague lyrics actually connect to some master plan. It's all just smoke and mirrors. What we're really seeing here is Drake doing what he does best, manipulating the most gullible people into thinking chaos equals genius. It's not strategy, it's diss slop all over again, and it adds up to absolutely nothing. What makes this moment so wild is that the narrative inside the Drake community is spreading like wildfire. There's this new belief that maybe, just maybe, the whole Kendrick Lamar beef wasn't what we thought, that Drake somehow knew more, saw deeper, and planned ahead like some rap world chess player. But come on, this isn't some 4D strategy game. It's just fans rewriting history to protect their hero's pride. Now, it's pretty obvious that Drake does want to revisit the Kendrick feud, or at least toy with the idea of it. Every new bar, every cryptic post, every sly lyric feels like him throwing tiny jabs without ever saying Kendrick's name. He's still subbing, still stirring the pot, but deep down, he doesn't want that real smoke again. He's teasing a fight he's too scared to face head on. Honestly, I almost hope he keeps poking at it, because the second Kendrick decides to respond, oh, it's over. All Kendrick would need to do is hit upload, drop that unreleased diss, and boom, the entire internet would stop. One button, one verse, and we'd have another all-time classic moment that buries every ounce of Drake's fake genius talk once and for all. And honestly, if this is what it takes to get new Kendrick Lamar music, then I'm all for it. I don't care how many times Drake keeps throwing bait or talking slick on stage. If it pushes Kendrick to drop again, that's a massive win for rap fans everywhere. Because let's be real, every time Kendrick steps up, he reminds the world who's really running this lyrical game. Meanwhile, Drake's out here proving once again that Laurie might just be the lamest persona hip-hop has ever seen. So now, with everything laid out, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Drake trying to rewrite the Kendrick beef like he had some secret insight all along? Do you buy this story that he knew it was coming? Or do you think he's just scrambling to make himself look clever after the fact? And what do you make of this new attempt to spark another round with Kendrick? Is he reaching, or is this just desperation in disguise? Let me know your thoughts down below, because this one's messy, hilarious, and wild all at once. And if you made it this far into the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. It helps out a ton. Now, if you're ready for even more chaos, check out the next one. Because right before all this, Drake had one of the most unhinged on-stage rants of his career. And trust me, it gets even worse. See you on the next one.